Deborah, you had a point that you were making.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is we look at each other. It's almost like that sixth sense that we have with other women. Or we could tell, you know how we'll say she's a hoochie mom or she's this and she does this. Haven't seen her. She hasn't opened her mouth. We look at her slingback shoes or whatever we're looking at. But we don't have that same sense when it comes to picking our man. Like he said, that's a desk and that's a chair. Oh, I know what he's for. We don't have it.
You know what it is? I think we too often form in our heads what we want when we're 16, 17, 18. You know, we start thinking we want him to be this tall, we want him to be this, we want him to be that, we want him to have this job, we want him to have wear his hair this way, we want him, you know, whatever. We want him to be really dark, we want him to be fair, whatever it is we want. And people have, I think what happens often, and I don't know, you're the expert, you can tell me. I think as women, what we do is we form a fantasy in our heads.
That's
Prince Charming.
we form, no, not even Prince Charming. We form a fantasy necessarily, and we never give up that dream.
Yep.
We never give up that fantasy. And it's like we want that fantasy, and even if you're in a marriage with somebody who is making you carry the entire financial burden, you keep thinking, but if maybe he's going to change. Maybe, and I'm just, you know.
Remember what I said in the beginning? A man can never live up to your dreams, and if you always compare him, he will always lose.
Yeah, but if he's not doing anything.
But see, the thing about it, see, that's the thing about it. If you look
That's what I think women do.
If you look
though.
at brothers who are doing everything and the brothers who are doing nothing, they usually end up in the same category.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Yes, I have done that.
He works hard, but he doesn't hug me enough. So you want him to make $1 million and also
I
be
don't
around
know.
to hug you. You know what I'm saying? Well, I want him to be a world traveler and be this, that, and the other, and I want him to be next to me at the same time. Well, you can't broker $1 billion deals while you're sitting at home with your wife. So either way, he's guilty of something, either by commission or omission. Either he committed some crime or he omitted to do something for you. And brothers can't win. I've seen brothers, you know, when brothers die, they're like, well, he was faithful. Well, no, he just really didn't have a chance. If he lived long enough, he probably would have cheated. He just didn't cheat yet. And it's just like, wow.
No one's that cynical.
No, I'm serious. You got to understand, I talk to women all over the country. This is not me. This is what I get. This is what I've seen growing up. I've never heard as a consensus men, especially black men, being talked about in a positive light by a majority of the people. It would only be one or two, and those are the ones who would get the detention from the brothers who were serious, and then the rest of them would be going off. And then I asked women, I said, you know, this is your other problem. I said, you know what to do with a bad man. I said, but what do you do with a good man who you don't have to complain about, you don't have to check up on, you ain't got to worry about where he's putting his money? What do you do with him, and what do you talk about with your girls? And they got quiet. And they're like, and you know what they said? Well, he don't exist.
I knew you
said,
were going to say that.
check this out. Human nature will have you not looking for anything that you don't believe exists.
Exactly.
Which is why y'all don't recognize a good man, because you don't believe he looks exist, so you don't put out your feelers for it. It's like, how many of us have went out looking for a unicorn that will admit it? No. Do you ever go looking for invisible coins? No, because it's like, that doesn't exist. And if they do, you see what I'm saying?
You don't know what to do with it.
You are convinced that real men don't exist. So your radar's not up for them. You don't know what to do with them. You don't know how to address them. You don't know how to make them feel like real men. You don't even know how to get in touch with that woman part of you that brings out the real man part of them. And then you're like, well, how come I can't find a real man?
We just think they're all taken. We don't think they don't exist.
Let me tell you something.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
No, they exist.
I got a Rolodex of untaken men who, like I said, I will let date my sister. And you know what? One of my boys had said it, because he was a brother. He was in a fraternity. There was some sororities, and they always kept saying, you know, Mike, I want a man just like you, right? And all of them got in relationships, got their heart broken, and then said, you know what, Mike, I want a man just like you. He said, that's funny, because you know I've liked at least 2 of you in the last 2 years, and both of y'all went with some knucklehead men.
Oh,
so you want somebody like me, but you don't want me. That's the issue.
We got to wrap it up again. We got 15 seconds. Anthony, tell us something that we can leave here with and pinpoint that brother.
Something positive.
Get in touch with yourself as a woman in the non-traditional sense, in the human and the spiritual sense. And you will get what you deserve, because deserve is an action. So if you do what you need to deserve a man, he will show up. You will not have to look for him. You will not have to chase him. You will not even have to ask him to step to him.
Wow. Thank you. That is just amazing.
And everybody gets a